The British enjoyed their long weekend in summer temperatures on the beach, in the parks and in the pub. It feels like a new life in a new world, said a visitor to the English seaside resort of Blackpool on Sunday's holiday, full of relief to the media. At last, but it could be that weekend of all times that threatens to overturn the government's plans. While people took advantage of the lifting of many contact restrictions and reunited with other households, often for the first time in months, scientists never tire of appealing to the population to be cautious. They warn that, despite the relatively low number of infections, the country is in the early stages of the third wave, now of all times. The British are only finding their way back to comparatively normal life after months of strict lockdown, with restaurants, shops and pubs open, and so the fear of renewed restrictions is great. Will Freedom Day, as the media have dubbed June 21st, be postponed in the kingdom? The government actually wanted to lift all restrictions. However, experts recommend postponing this goal. For the first time since the end of March, the number of new infections daily exceeded the 4,000 mark last Friday. It is no longer just a few hotspots such as Bolton or Blackburn in the northwest of England, where variant B16172, which was first discovered in India, is spreading rapidly. According to data, this is also the case in the rest of the country. Cambridge University microbiologist Ravi Gupta, who is part of the government advisory group, spoke 2 days ago of exponential growth. According to estimates, up to 3/4 of the new cases can be traced back to the mutation, which is considered more contagious and is apparently more resistant to antibodies and thus vaccinations. All the more in those areas where the numbers are rising particularly, attempts are being made to bring forward the second vaccination. It is hoped that the consequences of the successful vaccination program on the island will be less dramatic than in 2020 and earlier this year. Almost 26 million people, or 1 in 2 adults in the UK, are now fully vaccinated with both doses. Around 75% of the adult population received at least the first vaccination. According to Gupta, the campaign gives people a deceptive feeling of security, while the infection rate is still relatively low. The 7-day incidence is 27. The government has become more cautious, with around 130,000 deaths and allegations that past action was taken too late, critically claiming thousands of lives and economic damage. The tone on Downing Street has changed accordingly in recent days. So far, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has seemed unconcerned. But after several members of the SAGE government's panel of experts expressed their skepticism about the further easing, the government seems to be rethinking too. We cannot rule out anything, said Environment Secretary George Eustice yesterday. A decision as to whether it will stay on June 21st will only be made in the next 2 weeks. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.